March of 2019. Lake Guntersville, Alabama. A man named Dale Hutchins is sitting in a 14-foot John boat with more rust than paint left on it. He has been out since 5 in the morning. It is past 9. He has not had a single bite. His tackle bag has $60 worth of soft plastics, 2 bottles of ProCure, and a brand new pack of Berkeley Gulp. None of it is working. 2 guys in a Ranger bass boat 40 yards away are pulling fish after fish out of the same water. Same depth, same structure, same morning. Dale almost packed up and drove home. Instead, he reached into his glove box and grabbed a small brown bottle his grandmother kept in her kitchen cabinet for baking. Anise extract, cheap as $1.14 from the Piggly Wiggly. He let 3 drops fall onto the belly of a watermelon red soft plastic worm. He cast it out and let it sink. 30 seconds later, his rod doubled over. By noon, Dale had put 9 largemouth in the boat. The 2 guys in the Ranger left before he did, with fewer fish. Dale spent $1.14 that morning. They spent more than $300 on electronics and synthetic scents. And that is the kind of story that keeps certain people in this industry awake at night. This is the channel that digs into the fishing knowledge that has been buried, regulated, and in some cases banned because it threatens the people who profit when you keep buying gear that does not work. Today, we are cracking open the science behind a $1 baking spice that has been catching fish since ancient civilizations walked the earth. We are going to explain what happens inside a fish's nervous system when this compound hits the water. We are going to reveal which states and countries moved to restrict it and the real reason why. And then I will hand you 3 legal methods to deploy it that will change how you fish for the rest of your life. So what is this compound, and why does a $1 bottle from the baking aisle outperform an entire wall of synthetic scents that cost $20 to $60 each? It is called anise oil. The compound doing the heavy lifting inside it is called trans-anethole. Anise oil comes from the seeds of the Pimpinella anisum plant, a flowering herb cultivated across the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and East Asia for over 4,000 years. You know the smell. It is the sweet licorice scent in black licorice candy, in Italian sambuca, and in Chinese 5-spice powder. Trans-anethole makes up 80 to 90% of pure anise oil by weight. You can buy a bottle at any grocery store for $1 to $3. It is in the baking aisle between the vanilla and the almond extract. It has been sitting there your entire life. And here is what should bother you. In the 1950s, a company called DeLong Lures introduced the first commercially available anise-scented, soft plastic fishing lure. They knew this compound attracted fish more than 70 years ago, and the tackle industry has known it for 7 decades. ProCure, Berkeley Gulp, Atlas Mics, Baitmate. Each of these products exists in a market worth hundreds of millions annually. A market that would collapse if anglers knew what Dale discovered with a $1.14 bottle from the baking aisle. Now let me show you why it works, because once you understand the biochemistry, you will never look at that $60 scent wall the same way. Fish do not smell the way you do. They live inside the medium that carries the scent. Water is 800 times denser than air. Chemical signals dissolve and disperse through diffusion, maintaining molecular structure over enormous distances. A fish pumps water through small openings on its snout called nares. Inside sits the olfactory epithelium, packed with 3 types of receptor neurons: ciliated neurons, microvillus neurons, and crypt cells. Researchers at Louisiana State University mapped how these types function in channel catfish and found that each one detects a different class of chemical compound and projects its signal to a different region of the olfactory bulb. The system is a multi-channel chemical surveillance array more sophisticated than anything the tackle industry has tried to replicate in a bottle. Trans-anethole is a phenylpropanoid. It is structurally different from the amino acids and bile salts fish normally detect as food. So why would a fish respond to it? The answer is cross-receptor activation. Trans-anethole's molecular geometry lets it interact with G-protein-coupled receptors across multiple neuron types simultaneously. Amino acids like L-alanine are a single key for a single lock. Trans-anethole is a skeleton key. It generates a broad-spectrum signal cascade that the fish's brain reads as a novel, high-intensity environmental event. The fish does not identify it as food. It identifies it as something significant, something that demands investigation. In a fish's world, investigation means approaching, and approaching means being close enough to see your bait. Behavioral scientists call this the orienting response. The fish detects a chemical it cannot categorize, and its survival programming says investigate because it might be food, a competitor, or a mate. That reflex is hardwired. A 2023 study in applied animal behavior science tested star anise oil on freshwater crayfish and found it triggered statistically significant increases in active food-searching behavior. The researchers measured 5 categories of behavioral response: pereopod movement, antennual waving, maxillipt waving, chilipt grasping, and time spent actively searching for food. Anise oil produced significant increases across all 5 compared to filtered freshwater. But here is the number that should terrify every scent company on the planet. Anise oil performed comparably to pure fish oil as a chemoattractant in a controlled lab setting. A plant extract that costs $1 performed at the same level as the fish-derived oils that form the base of almost every premium scent product on the market. That is not a forum post. That is peer-reviewed science published in a journal indexed by Elsevier. But attraction is only the first mechanism. Anise delivers 2 more. When a fish strikes an artificial lure, taste receptors on the lips, palate, and gill rakers perform a rapid chemical analysis. Is this food or garbage? If the answer is garbage, the fish ejects the lure in 200 to 400 milliseconds. That is faster than your brain can process the vibration through the rod. When you coat a lure in anise oil, the sweet, mildly pungent flavor of trans-anethole does not trigger the rejection response. It is not food, but it is not plastic either. It creates a pause in the eject reflex. Fish hold anise-scented lures measurably longer than unscented ones. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has noted that strong scent attractants can increase catch rates by over 30%. That 30% comes from converting instant rejections into hook sets. Your lure was already getting bit. Anise buys you the half-second you need to feel the weight and drive the hook. The third mechanism is human scent elimination. Your hands secrete L-serine, an amino acid that fish have evolved over millions of years to associate with mammalian predators. When you handle a lure, you coat it in a chemical that actively repels the fish. Anise oil is hydrophobic, and it forms a lipid film that seals the L-serine underneath a layer the fish cannot detect. You are not just adding attraction, you are removing repulsion. 3 mechanisms from 1 application: broad-spectrum olfactory attraction, extended gustatory hold time, human scent elimination. No synthetic product on the market delivers all 3. And the compound that does costs $1.14. Now, if it is so effective, why are there restrictions? There is no federal law in the United States that bans anise oil for fishing. Let me say that clearly. No federal law bans it. What exists is a patchwork of state regulations that restrict how scent attractants reach the water. 22 states have rules that prohibit chumming with foreign substances, ban chemical attractants dispersed into waterways, or restrict scent-enhanced baits in artificial-only zones and in fly fishing-only zones. Minnesota classifies any chemical attractant dropped into state waters as illegal under Statute 97 C.065. Colorado prohibits any substance used to attract fish. Idaho bans all chumming statewide. In designated catch and release waters across dozens of states, any bait treated with a chemical preparation is prohibited. These are not anise-specific bans. They are broad frameworks that encompass anise along with every synthetic scent on the tackle wall, including $50 bottles from ProCure and Berkeley. The restrictions apply equally. But here is the critical distinction that changes everything. Nearly every one of these states draws a legal line between dispersing a substance into water and applying a substance to your personal lure. Pouring anise into a lake is chumming. 3 drops on your soft plastic is scenting your bait. One is illegal. The other is legal in all 50 states. That is not a loophole. That is the letter of the law. Internationally, it goes further. New Zealand banned scented lures and chemical attractants from freshwater trout fisheries entirely. The Taupo Fishing District says any lure with attractant properties is illegal. Multiple fishing competition bodies, including tournaments run by the International Game Fish Association, ban anise oil because it provides an unfair competitive advantage. When professional fishermen who catch fish for a living vote to ban a substance because it is too effective, you should probably own a bottle of it. Let me tell you which fish it works on, because I will not lie to you the way companies selling $60 miracle scents do. Anise oil is not a universal attractant. It has clear species strengths and documented limitations, and if I told you it catches everything, I would be selling you the same line the industry does. Channel catfish are at the top of the list, and it is not even close. Their barbels contain the densest concentration of taste and scent receptors of any freshwater fish in North America. Catfish will investigate an anise-scented bait from distances that will genuinely surprise you. Crappie are next. Crappie anglers have been adding anise to jigs for decades because crappie are notoriously finicky hitters, and the extended hold time from anise-scenting converts short strikes into landed fish. Trout respond well, especially hatchery-raised trout that have been conditioned to accept novel food profiles from pellet feeding. Their olfactory systems are primed to investigate anything that smells like it might be edible. King salmon and coho have a well-documented response, and guides on the rivers of the Pacific Northwest have been scenting herring rigs and spinners with anise for generations. Most of them will not tell you what they use. Now you know. Bass respond moderately. The primary benefit for largemouth and smallmouth is L-serine masking and hold time, rather than initial attraction. In stained or muddy water, where bass rely more on smell, the effect is stronger. In clear water on sunny days, it makes less difference. Anise shows minimal effect on purely sight-based predators in open water. Pike and muskie that hunt by vision in gin-clear conditions will not change their behavior for a scent signal. Know your species. Know your water. Match the tool to the situation. One final point. Not all anise products are the same. There are 3 forms. Anise extract is the oil in an alcohol base. Pure anise essential oil is the concentrated compound. Star anise oil from Illicium verum contains the same trans-anethole at similar concentrations. For lure application, pure oil works best because it is hydrophobic and clings to surfaces. Use it sparingly, 2 to 3 drops. In excess, it will melt certain plastics and stain clothing permanently. For overnight soaking, anise extract works better because the alcohol base penetrates soft plastics more evenly. For the cotton ball method, either works. Avoid anything labeled anise flavoring or artificial anise. These synthetic versions contain little actual trans-anethole and will do nothing on the water. Read the label. If the first ingredient is not anise oil, anise seed extract, or star anise oil, put it back. We covered how a $1 baking spice triggers a 3-channel biological response no synthetic product has replicated. We exposed the 70-year history the tackle industry has with this compound, and why they built a $100 million category around something in the baking aisle. We walked through the regulations across 22 states and the legal line that keeps this in your hands. And I gave you 3 methods that cost pennies per trip. If this is the kind of raw science the rest of the internet is afraid to publish, you know what to do. Subscribe. Hit the bell. Send this to every angler still spending $50 on something they can replace for $1.14 at the grocery store. Drop a comment. Have you ever used anise oil? Have you noticed that licorice scent on a guide's lures and wondered what it was? Tell me your story, because it might be our next investigation. Stay sharp. Stay legal. I will see you on the water.